Alrighty chaps, somebody asked me the other day what welder do I use, and I thought, well, I could solve that problem by actually showing you. I use a Lincoln Electric 180C. It has been very good welder for what I need. Now there will be a few people out there who think this thing can do all things, but I don't agree that it can do everything. I've always thought this had trouble welding anything greater than a few mil thick. There will be people who will disagree with me, I guarantee it, but I've had it for 6 years and it seems to have always, no matter how high you turn it up and the full 15 amps cranking into it, it just cannot seem to give you it can weld it, but I just never really happy with its welding of really big thick steel structural stuff. I think you should really have a 250 MIG for that kind of stuff, but this 180C is more than adequate for panel steel or cars, well, anything car related really. It's pretty good. Just don't expect to be welding a building together with it. I use it because, well, I wanted to upgrade from gasless at the time, and I was using gasless MIGs for a bloody long time, and then I went and got my trade, and I've never ever gone back. And I think once you put a gas MIG in someone's hands, they'll never want to use gasless ever again. And wow, it's a bit filthy in there. So some people will say gasless is the way to go, but each to their own. But I would always go for a gas MIG. One being the rolls of wire are significantly cheaper, as in a lot cheaper. And you know that gas bottle, if I'm doing constant welding for like 3 months, I reckon it'll chew it out pretty quick. But you rent the bottles for a year, it's not that expensive, and you just swap and go. It's pretty good. So always go gas if you want my opinion. I want to get a bigger welder because I'm chewing through these little 5 kilo rolls very quickly, and I want to get the 15 kilo rolls, which are the much bigger ones, and unfortunately this welder can't take them. That's why I want to upgrade to a 250. So, and there are a lot of brands of welders that are from that country that we shall not name, and some of them are actually quite acceptable for home jobbies. You don't have to go for a name brand. I think at the time this just happened to be the best value for money that I could get. And go buy yourself a trolley for it to sit on. They're only about 60 bucks. The other thing is, try and keep the tips clean. Focus. Especially if it's gas. And you want to always keep the welder about zoom. Wow, this thing is having a hard time focusing today. You want to keep it fairly short. You want to keep the nozzle close to your work. I'm going to give up trying to focus that thing now. There we go. Because, believe it or not, the longer the wire is, the less current is going through it. I learned that at trade school. So if you've got a wire that's like that long, it's not going to work very well. Something I don't quite know the whole ins and outs of it, but it won't work very well if it's hanging out about 300 feet. So you want to keep it probably the nozzle within 10 millimeters. So you want to have it like that close to the job. Ignore the wire just going through it. So you want to keep it really close. That's what I was taught at trade school. That's what the current, as far as I'm aware, the current knowledge is that they teach you. So keep it short, keep it clean. Cut it. You're technically supposed to chop the end every time you take a weld. I don't, because I don't care to do that, but you want to keep it short. and run gas, in my humble opinion. I guarantee there will be people who will disagree with me, but this is my experience, and I'm attached to a welder more often than not. So this is the welder, this is how I run it. I use a just a SIG weld auto darkening helmet. Watch out, the batteries in them do go flat eventually. And I always wear a glove on my left hand because I can get my hand real close to the end of the nozzle, and it makes life much easier for doing a lot more accurate welds. So on today's task I'm going to do this, but you won't see that in this video. I'm just sort of getting work done rather than that. But I thought I'd do a little video on the welder because somebody asked, and I thought, okay, well there you go, that's what I'm using. I use gas, it's a 180C. Probably don't want anything smaller than a 180 for car stuff. Really, truck? That is a long exhaust brake they just used then. I'm sure that was illegal. Anyway, enough of that. And you might notice the XB's here. It's on the road. It's done 320 odd Ks, and it's happy as Larry. So I'll leave it here. I hope you enjoy it. I hope this information is helpful. If you don't like the information or you don't agree with it, just say nothing. It's the safest way to be. So I hope that was helpful. That's how I operate, and it seems to work fairly well.